Hey everybody. I have something I want to say about these various videos I see going around social media about, you know, the dark reality about living in Japan and how it can get very, emotionally dark and, depressing for a lot of people because they have an image of what it's like to go to live here, thinking it's going to be like, what they see on them in them dramas and in them animes and whatnot. And then they get here and they realize how different it is. Um, I'm a go off and just say, first off, yeah. Yeah, it can get really rough being in Japan. Um, Emotionally, especially if you come from a very, um, like what y'all call it, emotionally expressive and open country or society. You don't come here and you want folk to, or you expect folk to give you the same level of like emotional, like positive reinforcement that you probably get back home. You're not gonna get that here. Not as all nowhere near as often. You're not gonna have people sitting there praising what you do. Um, like you may want. You're not gonna have folk coming up to you being all open and effervescent, if that's even the right way to say that word. You gonna be lonely. To put it blunt, you probably gonna be lonely. Um, but over the 10 years I done been here, and I think because of all of the stuff I just said, I love living here because of everything I just said. Of all the loneliness, all the I wish I would get more words of affirmation. I wish that people would do this for, but they don't, and that internal conflict that all of that creates. I'm very, very happy uh, to have gone through it because it has forced growth out of me. Internal growth. Like I'm an Orthodox Christian, at least I'm trying to be, and if I am to take what that suggests seriously, that being God is present and filleth all, ever present and filleth all things, then that means even in these situations, God is present with me. The one above all, the one high truth is present in these less than pleasing situations. And I've learned that these situations are the best to learn from. Like right now I work at a all female, all Japanese nursery, and there are a lot of times where I want to be praised for my work. I want to be, I want my pride boosted, which ain't a good thing. And I think a lot of, at least in my experience, is I wonder if it's accurate to actually say Japanese life is so tough and bad and stressful for me, or it is an environment that is forcing me to acknowledge elements within myself that are not the most emotionally and spiritually healthy. So like, let's take people don't compliment me or say some things. Okay, people don't talk to me. I'm physically alone. But why must I be lonely? Like in Japan, you'll be physically alone a lot. You won't have a lot of people talk. But why must that mean I am lonely? I had this real bad when I lived in Fukushima. Now I live in Tokyo with my missus. But like back before I got married and I lived in Fukushima, I would be lonely, lonely, lonely. I remember being on a beach during like a summer festival, damn near about to cry my eyes out because I ain't had no friends. And if I sit and remember that right now, I guess the best way to try to describe that inner state in words would be, I was not comfortable with being with myself. I was lonely because I was alone with myself, right? I was alone. I felt lonely because I was forced to be with myself. And I was not in a state where I could be with myself peacefully. You know what I'm saying? Because again, with the whole being Orthodox thing, we have examples of monastics, people in monasteries, ascetics, people who go out, live in the wilderness, literally live in the wilderness, literally live in caves, literally lives in middle of forest with nobody for years, and they're fine. They're Gucci, they're straight, because they are physically alone, but they're not lonely, because they have achieved, through God's help, they have achieved inner peace. They've signed a peace treaty with themselves, right? They're good with themselves, right? It's not scary to be with themselves. They just are physically not around anybody. But that doesn't equate to loneliness. If we take that seriously, God is ever present, fills all things, then it's not possible to be alone. But that's not the problem, is it? We feel alone. You come here, you feel like ain't nobody don't nobody appreciate you, don't nobody want to make friends with you, don't nobody want to do this, don't nobody do that. All right. And if they don't, what do you do? What do you do if you come to Japan and people don't want to make friends with you? What do you do? Because that's going to happen at some point. Not with everybody, obviously not, but like there's going to be some people that don't want to be friends with you. Okay, what do you do? How do you deal with that internally? You gonna hate the person? You gonna curse them for not liking you? You gonna turn it in on yourself and start hating yourself and make yourself your own enemy? Nah, fam, we ain't about that. I've spent too many years doing that. That ain't gonna do nothing but just make things a whole hell of a lot worse. You ain't about that. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. This video is gonna be long as hell. It's like probably gonna be damn near 10 minutes. But my whole thing in putting this up there is I, inshallah, God willing, want to put out a different perspective, hopefully, a fresh perspective, hopefully, through God's grace, on being a foreigner in Japan. And I come with that perspective and with that hope. God is ever present, filleth all things. And if God is good, and that good fills all things, that must mean, even in a situation like living in Japan and being a foreigner and being by yourself, there can be good found in that isolation, loneliness, however you want to describe it. How can I make peace with myself? How can I be good with myself? Maybe this discomfort of being in Japan, how can I better deal with my pride? How can I deal with judging people? Because it's kind of judging people if you think about it. If you think everybody don't like you, don't nobody care about you, everybody's talking shit about you behind your back. Some people like that out there. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That's judging people. You don't know what's in their hearts, just like they don't know what's in your heart. You know what I'm saying? So don't judge other people. Don't judge yourself. You hear me? But, to get back to the beginning of it, yeah, I 100% agree with a lot of these people. It can be very lonely and depressing. But that can also be an opportunity to find a deeper connection with God. If you're not religious, it can be an opportunity to find more about yourself and progress further towards better understanding who you are. And I think we all need some of that. Anyway, I'm going to go before this turns out to be like 1,000 hour-long video. Love y'all. Have a good one.